Hello and welcome to The Gamery. I'm your host, E.C. Bond, and this is Watching Paint Dry Special Edition with my good friend, Steve Boshear.
That's right. This is Steve Boshear. I hope everyone can hear me. Uh, I have my own stream over at Shadows of Archonia. Bond's put my logo there for you.
There you go.
Uh, my stream is a tabletop role playing game live play stream. You can see us on Friday nights and Monday nights. But tonight I'm going to be here doing some wood burning for a new gaming table that I'm building.
So awesome. So awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to be working on some miniatures that Steve actually sent me to paint for his campaign, which I thought was very cool. Um, and when he mentioned wood burning as what he's going to be doing, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to try to think of a theme for all this. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking of a tavern. I'm thinking some kind of a mission that they're on where they're going to be burning wood. I don't know, but that's where my brain's at right now, and hopefully it all works out great.
That sounds awesome, and thank you again for painting some minis for me.
Of course, my pleasure. I've actually painted a couple of different jobs for friends, which is good. It's fun, but the worst part about painting for other people is having to let them go. Is having to give them to the person to be like, here, they're yours now, and then I never see the miniatures again, and I'm like, oh, that's sad, because I get attached to the miniatures.
Yeah.
I get attached to them. I want them back.
Well, that's why you started the stream, right? So you can always go back and watch the video.
Exactly. It's exactly that. I actually didn't think about that till right now. It's true. I can go back and relive this moment of like, oh, remember when I used to paint this? I miss that guy.
So I got to tell you what it is I'm working on here.
Cool.
The table has it's going to have 8 seats, one for the dungeon master, and then 7 others for players.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is I decided to immortalize the original party of adventurers that I played with in my first D&D game ever, um, which was you Bon. You missed it by 1.
I missed it by one?
You missed it by 1 because you actually played a couple sessions in my very first D&D game. Remember, you came in and played Tracker.
Oh,
and
yes.
You were teamed up with that other guy, Jason Torres. You guys both missed it by 1 because we were just out of seats. So all the people who came before you got their logos burned in. My initial idea was I was going to burn everyone's family crest into like their but of course they're of Asian descent, and family crests are a European thing. And then of course even some of the white people, like, I don't know what that is. I don't have that. So so we ended up with a design for each person. What I'm working on tonight is Raylyn, Esther, they designed them, but it took a while because they're a perfectionist.
Hang on, Steve.
But
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again? Just because I think we're having a little audio issue. It's kind of cutting out, but I think I heard it was for Ray Lynn.
yes,
Okay.
it's for Raylyn. They designed their own crest
Okay.
because actually even their last name is of their own invention.
Oh.
So yeah, as I understand it anyway. So yeah, actually a couple people designed their own. My one Filipino friend dug up some ancient Filipino alphabet and found the character that corresponds to the first sound of his name. So I'll be doing that.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one was really cool to me. One that I've already completed is we have a Korean girl whose last name is Hyun, and her name Hyun has its own character in Korean, so we just put that on the table. Um,
Oh,
and then my own family name is actually American. It was in Boshear was invented in America,
oh,
um,
okay,
but I, what I'm doing is I know it's descended from a French name which is Brasseurs,
okay, okay.
and and so I'm actually still in the process of doing my own after bugging my friends to get me theirs forever. But I'm gonna take the crest for Brasseurs and sort of mix it with the one for McCullough, which is my mother's maiden name,
Okay.
to create one for myself. But what we're doing with these, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this at all. This is like a little drawer. Every place where a lid that sits on top of them. So when the lid is closed, it's like a little play surface. You can put your writing stuff on there.
I
When you
see.
open
Okay.
it, you can. When you open it, you can store stuff, of course, or use it as a dice tray. It's gonna be felt lined inside.
Really? Gee, there's going to be a lot going into this drawer.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a very big drawer, but it's a complicated one.
Yeah. I mean, that just blows me away that you're woodworking and building desks. Like, that's what you do. And I know your last table that we played at, that was something you made as well, right?
Yeah, although that wasn't a full table, actually. There was a table under it, which was my grandmother's dinner table.
Oh, it was like a topper then.
Because yeah, we built just a top to go on top of it, which was much bigger than the table underneath, because we did have 8 players at one time plus the DM. We needed a very large table.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was basically just a board, and there were some shelves that would attach to the side, but they all broke like pretty quickly. They weren't well made.
Mm.
Um, so I've been like 6.5 years to build like a real awesome gaming table. My father's a woodworker by profession,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and so he's been helping me build it. It's mostly done at this point. Like I will be lucky to catch up with this wood burning. And this is the part of it that I can do by myself during the week without his help. If I get it all finished, like it's now a race to see if I'll finish this before we finish the rest of the table.
So it's almost done. It's right there. That's good.
It's very close. It's in my garage. It still needs
Oh, okay.
basically all it needs is finishing, like sanding and finishing.
Okay. I figured it would might still be at the shop, but if it's in the garage, it's just a matter of bringing it inside and putting these things on it, the engraving bits on it. Real
Right.
close,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. There's one other thing that has to be done, which is it's a transformer table. It's also a dining table.
Okay.
So the top of it comes off in panels, and then under the dining table surface, there's like a lowered vault where the game stuff goes. Um, but right now, those panels literally just sit on the table, so they can be just bumped and slid around at will.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to, we're going to attach some stuff to the bottom of them that will stop them from sliding around, like that will stick into the vault and grab the edges so that it just, when it is in dining table mode, it stays that way.
I see. Yeah, yeah.
It looks like you're doing the archer there, huh?
Yeah, he's an orc, and when I first saw him, my thought was that like he's wearing chainmail on top of like dead skin, like a hide of some kind.
Right.
So then my thought was, okay, well let's start with this guy because I'm feeling it already. I'm kind of feeling who this guy is. Um, so let's go there. So I'm just doing like the base coat. I don't see him having a lot of exposed skin.
Yeah,
So
I don't either.
it's just the head that's really exposed. I think he's got gloves on, looks like, and these are probably some kind of tights or leggings that he's wearing. So we'll do a different color on that. But once I get his face,
I
then
mean, you could choose to say those aren't tights. That's skin.
I could do that. I thought about doing that. Let's see. You know, I think I will do that because I'm seeing right here in the back there's a little forearm muscle. There's not a lot on his left hand. Like this looks like a full on gauntlet that he's wearing.
Yeah, but
But
between the gauntlet and the, I can't see it as well as you probably, but between the gauntlet and the fur, is there a little arm exposed?
that's a thing. I think I can make it look like it is. Yeah, I can do
Mm.
it. He's
I mean,
he's
I'm not pushing for more
yeah.
skin. I'm just,
No, I hear you.
you brought it up, so I'm talking about it.
I hear you. No, no, this is good. You know what I'm gonna do is his arms are gonna be exposed. This isn't gonna be a glove. I'm gonna paint the whole. I'm gonna just paint it like this is his bare arm, and I think I can get that.
Oh yeah, and it's like a bracelet there, maybe.
Yeah, because look at. I mean, it's protruding pretty high for that to be like the end of a glove. You know, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that. Let's go ahead and do that. And again, if you're just tuning in, this is the Gamery. I am EC Bond, and this is Steve Boshear from Shadows of Archonia. Um, this is the first time that I've tried to broadcast uh, two streams at once. This is remote. Like he's not sitting behind me with a camera. He's at his house, and I'm at my house. Remote streaming. So feel free to drop a line in the chat if the audio's not working, or if you know. Hopefully, you guys can hear us. I don't see why not. But if you noticed anything, please go ahead and drop it in there. Or if you just want to say hi, so I know the chat's working. Um, so I'm looking at the design on your. So the current design that you're working on, what is this? That I'm seeing right now on the camera, Steve. That is
I'm sorry, what was that?
the current design on the
That
camera that we're
is
seing.
that is Raylan
So
Esterlina's
that's okay.
crest that they designed. What it was, I printed out what they sent me,
Oh,
and then I
look at
have
that.
some transfer paper, like graphite paper, which you just use this like it's basically a stick, and you just trace it. If you press hard enough, it basically comes out like pencil down here. But
Okay.
there were imperfections in the transfer, so not everything came through just right. That's why I'm here trying to erase this part because for some reason this came out. All this is this.
Sorry, Steve, your audio had cut out there.
Oh, I was just saying that the transfer wasn't perfect when I used that carbon paper.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to like touch it up with a pencil before I go at it with the wood burner. But I'm not that good of an artist freehand.
Ah. So
I'll do my best.
is it? Looks like flowers on top of a with a helmet on top of a vase. Is that what I'm seeing?
This is a shield
Okay, that's what it
actually,
is.
and then
Okay.
underneath it might be off camera, but underneath is the water,
Okay.
and then below that, I believe it to be water. It might be additional flower petals, and then below that is the name Esterlina.
Mm-hmm. It looks really cool.
It is very cool. Um, I told Ray about the stream tonight,
Oh,
but they weren't feeling well, so they're gonna watch in the morning, I think, if they have a chance.
cool. I'm gonna fix the focus on my camera too, because it looks like it's a little bit off.
I'm getting a lot of static on my end.
Yeah, on audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. I wonder if it's Well, no, it shouldn't matter if it's the Skype and the.
Well, Skype's probably using a different microphone than what you're using for your stream, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, so that's maybe not an issue.
Yeah.
If I'm the only one hearing it, maybe it's not an issue.
Uh, I'm glad you primed these guys. I know we like kind of talked about it. How you're all about the priming, not so much about the
Yeah.
painting.
Yeah, I have literally hundreds of miniatures that are primed and not painted.
that's that's perfect because I'm the complete opposite. Is that I don't want to prime because I mean I don't know how you do it. So what I do is it's the spray paint. I take it out my front yard. I put on a mask. Um,
Well,
and I
there's your problem. You're giving yourself extra steps. I don't bother with that math stuff.
Cody Mao 253 is saying finally got connected. Welcome to the stream. What's
That's
going
my
on,
boy
Cody?
Cody.
Oh, you know
That's
Cody.
my
Cool.
yeah. Yeah, he's a regular viewer of our other stream, and he's even been on a few times.
Oh, really? See,
Yeah,
that's how you get followers is you have them on the stream. That works. I like the idea. I might try that myself.
yeah.
I don't know who else I got that paints, but we'll do it. Yeah, it's I. So you don't wear a mask. You're just all about the fumes. Is that what you're saying when you prime minis?
I mean, I feel like if you're just using spray paint and you're already outside, I don't feel like the fumes are a big thing. I mean, if I was inside in a booth or something doing it like they do at my dad's shop, I'd absolutely have a mask on. But no, it doesn't bother me to do it outside.
That's yeah. Then that's just me. I've always done it. I don't know. Like anytime I've always just thought, okay, well, I got to wear a mask.
Hmm.
Maybe it's because when I was a teenager, I was a tagger and I spray painted freeways. So my thought is, you wear the mask, but maybe you're only doing that to hide from the cops. That's probably
Here's the thing, though. You're lying.
why. You know me too well. You know
Yeah,
me too well.
I
No,
my BS meter went off the charts right there.
no, I was a tagger. I was, and the thing is that sometimes they misspell things on freeway signs. So I'd just go up there and fix it. That's what I was doing. I wasn't anything bad.
You're still lying.
Cody says the fumes are how you get high enough to not care how well it's going. Is that?
Yeah,
I think Cody's onto something here.
yeah, he is. He
I
is.
think
He
the
knows what he's
reason,
talking about.
yeah, the reason why you're not painting the minis is because you're stoned, and you forgot you had the minis. You were just outside huffing spray paint.
That is true. Sometimes I walk in my office and I'm like, where the hell did these come from?
Someone playing a joke on me?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a great story. So I was working on a commission for my buddy. He wanted me to paint Blood Rage, which is I think a board game that I showed you. Really good
Yeah.
Viking board game, great miniatures. I had painted my copy, and I thought they came out okay. I thought they were pretty terrible actually, because it was just when I first started painting. It was just something I was doing because I had a 4 hour commute each day. It was just a thing to relax. But he saw that and he's like, "Hey, would you mind painting mine?" And we agreed, and we came to an agreement of what I would do, and I said, "Sure." Then I moved to this new apartment, and I'm working on a faction for him, and I'm doing really good. I'm really into what I'm doing. I'm loving the way these guys are coming out. It was the Boar faction, which was green and tusks and all this great stuff that I was finding. I was really proud of it. So I spray finisher on them and leave it in my front yard to dry.
Oh no.
And I'm I go to I'm in the office, and something in my brain is saying I know what it was. I did it overnight. Like I sprayed them and then went to work the next morning and completely forgot that I left them outside. So I'm thinking, oh no, I better go grab them, just to be safe. I come back and they're gone.
That yeah. Unfortunately, I saw that end coming.
So my mind immediately goes, I'm going to go to the first game shop that's closest nearby and ask if anyone's selling these awesome painted minis, because that's what I would do if I found these minis, is try to sell them at a game shop. Makes perfect
Right.
sense. Um, until I noticed that the grass had just been cut.
The gardener threw them away.
Gardner put them into the dumpster in the back. Good news is that they had just emptied the trash. Bad news is that they're in grass, which is green and brown, and the miniatures are painted green and brown. So I
Oh
shifted
my
through that.
god.
I shifted through it. I spent a good hour in that dumpster. I found 7 out of 8.
Oh no, you didn't find 8.
Did not find number 8, but I told my buddy the story, and he's like, I totally understand. Not a big deal. He was like, I appreciate the fact that, I think I found another. Oh wait, no, I know what I did. I actually I had the same set, and I just gave him one of mine, and painted that one. And
Oh yeah, okay.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't think it was noticeable. I think I gave it to him and kind of said, "Hey, do you notice anything different about this one?" And he was like, "No." And then I told him the whole story, and he was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." Dislocated my shoulder. It was a whole jumping in the dumpster. You know what I mean? Like, it was a whole
You
thing.
actually dislocated your shoulder?
Yeah, it happens. It does that. It's not a bit.
Oh,
It's
not for the first time.
yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have a couple dislocated shoulders, so I know how that goes. The first time it's awful, but
Yes.
after that it starts to get more and more like, dang it.
Yeah, I see Mel Gibson. Like, Mel Gibson was like, "Oh, it's
Yeah,
fine. Let me just pop." That's how I felt. That's exactly how I
nah.
feel. Yeah,
Yeah, he's more just annoyed at the inconvenience.
yeah, yeah. And I'm pretty sure Mel Gibson actually did dislocate his shoulder. Like, he did it on purpose, just so he can have it for the shot. He's
That's well, not like Mel Gibson's mentally stable.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think he's crazy enough to be like, "No, it's okay. I'll do it." And Danny Glover's looking at him like, "This man's crazy. Too old for this shit."
Oh, those two. But yeah, I hope, Ray, if you are watching this at some point in the future, that you forgive me for all the errors. I did my best, but, I'm not you. And I get, like, I see that the helmet looks slightly angrier because this part right here is pointier than on the original design. But it's burned now, so there you go.
It looks great. Wow, I'm trying to. It seems like not everyone, but a lot of people I know are getting into woodworking. During the pandemic, that has been a common. I want to should go with beast hide instead of what I'm using. I think
Cody says the shoulder injury is from a lifetime of climbing onto freeways and tagging them.
See, he understands. He understands.
Yeah.
He's seen my work.
Well, Cody's like, what are you, Cody? 12 years old? I don't think he was born in the age of tagging.
No, I would tag things like detour, turn left, you know, uh, slow down for construction. Helpful things for the people is what I would tag.
No, I'm gonna guess like a real guess. I think Cody's like 24.
Because now, right now or back then, because now I'm like 14. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in between the vaccination shots, he was checking out my work on the freeway.
Yeah.
Where is my? Should I do flesh or should I do beast hide? I like beast hide. There it is. Let's do beast.
It's
hide.
looking real good. I got more excited about priming minis after because you wouldn't believe how many years it took me to learn the black and white together trick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I only learned that like 3 months ago.
Oh yeah.
I used to prime them all entirely black, and then someone finally said in some video I was watching, if you just spray them one time from above with white after you do them all black, you get like free highlights. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it makes it easier to see while you're painting.
Yes, that too. That too. I talked to a painter. I think I don't know if he watches the stream. His name's Chris DeLeon. He's a very good painter. Does commission work. A lot of Warhammer stuff. I've seen him. It's great work. He does amazing work. But I had talked to him when I had started painting, and he gave me all kinds of just tips, just like little things to do, and one of them was that, like, yeah, go ahead, spray the black, and then hit it from white on top, perfect highlight. Another thing he taught me was to do the lines, to do eyes, is you draw a line as if that, like as if it's looking at you, and then circle around the eye and the white, you know what I mean, whatever the background flesh of the eye is going to be, which is usually white, you know what I mean. Little
Yeah.
things like that, like that you can just learn by just talking to other painters. um,
You'll have to show me that eye thing at some point because I didn't quite understand it.
yeah, I'll try to show you on the screen, because the other thing is that I'm really bad at like showing people or like describing to people how I paint. That's why this has never really been a how-to video, because a lot of the way I do it is just feeling it, and I don't know if
Oh
that's,
sure, oh sure.
yeah, you know what I
I
mean.
mean
It's
that's part of any art form that you
yeah,
do.
yeah. I've gone.
I'm gonna show you what I was gonna paint before I realized I should do wood burning tonight.
Mm,
These are guys I was gonna send to you, but I just really wanted to do them myself. Um, so it's this trader and his pack ox with all his gear on it.
oh, check that out. The
Isn't
horns. Look at
isn't
that.
that awesome? And look at all the like stuff that he's got on
Oh, do
him.
me a favor. Bring it down a little bit. A little more towards the. Yeah, there you go. That's perfect.
Yeah, I'm looking at the video on Twitch, so I'm delayed by like a full minute
Oh,
here.
there you go. Yeah.
But yeah, like this, I love these guys, man. I can't wait to paint them. But like I said, I gotta get this done. It's overdue by a lot. Because here's the thing, we're coming up near the end of the pandemic here, right? I mean, everyone says end of the pandemic. It's not really that, but
We're
things are getting
hoping.
a lot safer,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we're getting vaccinated and everything. We're hoping, me and my regular Friday night game are hoping to be back at the table in person by the end of April.
That's a good sign. Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good date to shoot for.
the problem with it is that since the pandemic started, my furniture situation has really changed. I no longer have even that big fake tabletop I used to have.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. It might be in my garage, but I think I just got rid of it because I was building a new one. So all we have is Grandma's old breakfast table, and it's not gonna sit that many people. So I have to get the new table done before they come back to game.
I hear you. Okay, that makes sense. You'd be like, yeah, we can start gaming now. Oh, but can anyone bring a table? Because
Yeah,
I'm right in the
exactly.
middle of this thing and I can't really stop. So we need a table to game on. All right, now I feel
It's
like,
looking really good, man.
are you talking the orc?
I know you're just starting, but it looks really good to me.
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking if I can do chainmail or just do the whole thing with the beast hide, because there's definitely a layer. He's got something on top of what he's wearing. I'm just not so sure it's distinct on his torso. Definitely down here, you can kind of see there's a layer there on top of this. So I'm gonna try it, see if I can pull it out. But I'm afraid it's not gonna be it's not gonna make sense. But we shall see.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an older mini. It might be one of the ones that actually Ray gave me, the person that I'm doing
Oh,
this for. Shortly after we all got into D&D, um, Ray was at a coffee shop painting their mini for our game. They were going to join us partway in.
uh
They
huh.
weren't in session one, but they were going to join us partway in. So they were painting in public, and some dude rolled up and said, "Hey, is that for D&D?" And the guy turned out to have a collection of like hundreds of minis that he was trying to get rid of.
Oh, how cool.
And they scheduled a meeting later that week, and Ray just got hundreds of free minis from this random dude she didn't even know. They didn't even know. Apologies. We had a pronoun change since then. But um, so anyway, they ended up keeping the minis at my house because that's where the game was.
Okay.
But eventually, Ray just gifted them to us because we were playing more, and yeah, it just made sense. Which I'm still very appreciative of. I have gained a lot of minis since then, but probably still more than half of the ones that I own came from that.
So, how crazy would it be if this is Cody's mini? Like Cody was the person that ran into Ray that gave you the minis that gave to me that I'm now painting, and Cody's like, "Oh my god, those are the that was her." Like, how crazy is that, Cody? Are these your minis? Because you can have it back if you want when I'm done. I'm kidding.
That I think Cody was probably in junior high when this happened.
Oh, Cody did ask, "What are these orcs for?" I can't tell. I think Steve, you can answer that. And I don't know if there is an answer. I think we're just painting
No,
minis.
they're just minis that I own. I specifically sent Dawn the ones that I don't have an immediate plan for because I don't want to have to rush him to get them back.
Yeah.
But we'll have a cool orc with a bow when he's done.
Some nice little beast hide going on here.
He says, "Absolutely, those are mine. If you flip over the goblin, you'll see."
14. Oh, that's awesome. You know, I'm pointing. I'm going to paint 14 on these now. I'm painting 14 on all these minis.
Yeah, and I'm gonna find scratched into parts of them just Cody's name.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is really cool though that someone was just like, "Oh yeah, here, take these
Yeah, it was
you
very,
know."
very cool. Apparently, the guy was getting married and was just trying to have less stuff.
Yeah. His
I'll bet he regrets it. I'll bet he regrets it now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, how can he not? It's
Yeah.
like it's. I mean, especially if you have kids now, and like I mean, I've kept, because I mean, role playing, right? Like, you're
Yeah.
the only DM actually who's got me to role play, who's kept me at a table even for a little bit of time, at the little bit of time that I have role played. Um, and you're a great DM, and I love
Thank you.
playing at your table. I love playing the stories, but overall, like I've gone to cons and I've tried to do the same thing. It doesn't stick. I get bored. I can't focus. Um,
Well,
it's
I
just
have
not for me.
I have never gamed with strangers, except
Okay.
like a stranger that someone brought when everyone else at the table is a friend of mine.
Yeah.
But I've never gamed outside of my house or a friend's house. I've never gone to a store and gamed there. I've never gone to a con and gamed there. So my D&D experience is entirely with friends,
Okay.
and that's part of it. But I have to say, Bon, it makes me really sad that you're not more into RPGs because you're so good at it.
Oh, listen to you. Thank
No,
you.
like you guys don't understand. Like the first character that Bond played in our games is this character named Tracker. That it was part of a duo. Bond entered with another player named Jason, and they were Tracker and Malek. And
Remember this?
Bond was just the most insidious, conniving, manipulative
Oh,
character,
stop!
and
I'm blushing.
you pulled it all off with a straight face, and you made it look easy. Like everyone else at the table had been there for the whole adventure. You came in near the end and just owned everybody, and it was like we were so sad when you left. We were like, oh, he didn't like it.
I mean, but that's a theater training.
Yeah,
That's I've performed on stage since I was a kid. Like it's what I got my degree in. It's not, it's
yeah, it's
that's
not for nothing. Yeah,
yeah.
and
It's not like it's a yeah. But and the thing is, it's like sitting at the table and playing those moments. And I tell everyone this. I love board gaming because a it's a gaming and it's an art form where everyone's at the table and there's kind of like a standard experience that you're gonna have and everyone's into it. But it's nothing like an RPG table. That experience will stay with you forever. And I tell everyone the story of when we were playing with your wife, and she was playing a goblin, and she was yeah, she was,
I know the story.
and oh, I don't think she was playing, and she was doing an attack. She was a bard, that's what it was, and it was an
Yep,
attack
she was
where
a
she
bard.
insults someone and causes them damage. And she was doing this and picking off goblins. That's what it was.
It was
And
vicious mockery.
vicious
I think
mockery.
she
That's
might have been a gnome or a halfling.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something. Right. And then at one point, I turned to her and I said, you can't just keep rolling a dice and saying vicious mockery without actually mocking the guy. Like, role play it. What are you saying? And she sits there and she thinks very quietly. And then in probably the most innocent, sweet voice I've ever heard someone say, she goes, "Your mother is very disappointing in your life decisions."
Right. And the way that ability worked in fourth edition, which is what we were playing at the time, the creature who was targeted had to try to approach the bard after she said that.
Uh-huh.
And it, he did so by walking off a cliff and died.
Yeah. I just remembered looking at her going, "Whoa, way too far." Like way too
Exactly.
I like vicious insult and it's a game. Like, take that back. It was so brutal.
Cody was saying that your ability at playing a sleazebag came from the hooliganism in your past.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was also a soccer hooligan in Europe, in the 1980s.
Right.
I did that too. That's where I learned to spray paint was going to the Soviet bloc of Russia. I'm gonna just stop talking because I can keep going and none of it's gonna be
Just
fun.
make stuff up, man.
Just making stuff up.
Here's the thing: everyone else who was in that original game, and even a lot of the people I still play with, were all filmmakers or writers, directors.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was almost everyone was a creator of some sort, and you came in as the actor.
Yeah.
And it was just, we were all in it for the story. We were all like, story trumps rules every time. And then Bond comes in and says, "Oh no, me manipulating you trumps rules."
Yeah, that was so fun. That was a lot of fun. Oh, Cody, I can smell his Adidas tracksuit from here. That's right. That's right. Yeah, Green Street Hooligans. It was me and Frodo Baggins. um. Oh man, yeah. So whenever we get together, I always do miss the D&D, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I just can't. I know it. I know it's just gonna be one of those things. And this is another thing actually that my friends have pointed out to me. Campaign games, like if a game requires me to play it twice over a session, and you get a lot of board games. That's been a thing in the past couple of years. Is these campaign games. I can't do that either.
Oh yeah.
I get bored, and like by the second or third game, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they've gotten really upset with me. They've been like, "We're not going to start this game." Why? Because Bond's going to get there, and then he'll play one game, and then he'll just get bored with it. And I kind of got upset when they said that to me, and I was like, "Well, then be more interesting. What do you want from me?" And and that pretty much sealed it. I was like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that." So I'm a one-time guy.
Well, you should come on our Monday night stream then, because that's what we do is one shots in other game systems.
Yeah, I've been noticing that. I've been seeing those postings. So then, is it a different game system every time, or is it just like, oh, we found this, we want to try it?
Yeah, it's basically that. It's a different game system every time. We've had a couple of games that we did 3 sessions of, but
Okay.
mostly it's one shots. Cody wants to game with you.
Oh, of course.
You guys should both sign up for the Star Trek game that's coming up. It's got openings. Actually, I think Cody signed up for it earlier today. But that's a one shot, and yeah,
I'm down
this
for that.
was
Yeah.
this was born out of
Oh, that's about.
on our Friday night D&D game, which is ongoing. It's we're about to do episode 70, 69 or 70 this week.
Mm-hmm.
No, 69 this week. Um, there have been instances where someone's absent. Every now and then someone's absent. I still want to stream. I still want to game. So we do a one shot.
Okay.
And so we started trying out other games for our one shots, and I was like, there's all these cool TTRPGs that aren't D&D that I'm never going to get to try because I have all these regular games in D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Monday night stream was born out of. I have all these games on my shelf and I never get to play them. So just like the Friday night stream was born out of wanting to finally have a regular weekly D&D game, so let's make a show out of it to give me an excuse to hassle people to show up.
Right, yeah.
The Monday night stream similarly was born to have an excuse to play all these other games that I never get to try.
That's good.
So
nice.
We've done... our first one was a game called Hypertellurians. And it's a rotating cast. That's why there's a sign-up sheet. Hypertellurians. Then Sarah ran one for us called Beautiful Space Pirates, which was awesome. And then there was a break for the holiday because we started the show in December.
Yeah.
Then what did we do? We came back. I think we came back with Blades in the Dark, which we ran 3 sessions of.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's a pretty well-known one. And then after what did we do after Blades in the Dark, Cody? I don't remember. Oh, we did Honey Heist.
Best one's Blades in the Dark. Cody, yeah. I want to play with you too, man. Cody, I want to play with you too.
Cody played in Blades in the Dark. Cody also played in Honey Heist and the one right after that, which was called Wander Home. Then after Wander Home, we did... we've actually had so many now, I'm starting to lose the sequence in my head. But after Wander Home, we did another one, and now... we did 3 sessions of Dungeon Crawl Classics. That's what it was. And... which is like an old school clone sort of D&D game.
Okay.
Then this week, it was 2 days ago, and I can't remember what we played. Oh, we played, Jason GM'd for us a session of Monster of the Week.
Okay. Is that a specific thing? What is... I don't understand. Monster of the Week is just...
Monster of the Week is the name of the game.
Oh, okay.
It is exactly what it sounds like, inspired by like 90s Monster of the Week TV shows, like horror shows.
Okay. I wasn't getting that at first, but now that makes sense. For some reason, Monster of the Week, and I was thinking more of like some kind of... like a video game thing. I don't know why. That was just where my brain went. That's why I was kind of losing it. Anyways, I think Wander Home is... Cody says, I think Wander Home is great to steal stuff for session 0, building a party. There you go.
Yeah, I really liked Wander Home, even though we all had trouble with it, except Jason. Jason had no problem. He's the guy who suggested the game. But the rest of us all had trouble with it in advance because it's a tabletop role-playing game in which there is no violence allowed.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what we all said. We said, well, how are we supposed to kill people then?
Yeah.
You have to solve your problems with words?
No.
But, once we started playing, it was all good. Like, we didn't have any trouble. And then the other interesting thing about it is that it is a system that doesn't require a GM.
Oh, okay.
They have sort of guidelines for everyone creating as you go along, and people can create NPCs, and then other players can take over the NPC when necessary. And it was really interesting. It was all new to me.
Yeah, I for a minute I thought you were going to say kind of like Fiasco, because I wanted to remember those nights we played Fiasco, and that was another GM-less...
Yeah.
They actually came out with a new system that I bought, and I got it right before the COVID lockdown happened.
So did Alan. Alan bought that as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
We haven't played it yet. I intend to do Fiasco on Tales from the Backlog at some point.
Cool.
But we haven't yet. Maybe that's the one for you. Or maybe you should join us for Star Trek.
I like this idea of Star Trek, 'cause I'm getting more and more into Star Trek, getting more to appreciate Star Trek as a nerd than I had been before. So yeah, I'd be interested in seeing where that goes, and probably knowing less about it would be to my advantage.
Yeah, me and one of the players are big Star Trek fans,
Mm.
and I think that the other player who signed up kind of doesn't know much, like yourself, about Star Trek. I got it off a Humble Bundle. There was like a Humble Bundle where you got like the main rule book and a whole bunch of adventures and supplements for like, Humble Bundle price.
Yeah.
Um, and I was very excited about it because I'm a huge Star Trek nerd. I can tell you all kinds of stuff about it that normal people forget as soon as they watch an episode. You know how nerds work.
Like I said, normal people forget. Like we're supposed to remember this stuff after the fact. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Oh,
that's how
right.
that's how nerds work. We watch something and we remember it.
Forever.
That's what being a nerd is. Other people also watch Star Trek. Non-nerds also watch things like Star Trek. They just don't remember what a Klingon is after they stop watching.
Oh man. So Cody wants to play Fiasco as well. Cody also, I think knowing less is better for creative people on the road but still listening. Yeah, I feel that as well. My only concern, but I'm not too worried about it because I know Steve will take care of me. Is that of getting something wrong as far as a relationship between two species. You know what I mean? Like I'm just thinking. I know there's been times we were playing D&D and I would do stuff and the way you would kind of fix it, for lack of a better word, would make sense to me because I'm like, okay, there's something I don't know, which is good. That's how you want to be. You want to be surprised, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. And I also wouldn't worry about the system problems either because, the one good thing about Tales from the Backlog is every time we pick up a new game, for the most part, it's everyone's first time playing it.
Hmm.
So nobody has to be embarrassed about I don't get the rules. Including, I ran Blades in the Dark for Cody and Sarah and Jason,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they were citing rules at least as often as I was because we all were reading the book together basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where in D&D it's kind of expected that the dungeon master is the
Oh,
final rules arbiter,
right.
but it's not necessarily like that when you're all just doing a one shot in a game nobody's ever played before.
So let me ask. I mean, I think that once this pandemic ends, you probably would not be think like. I mean, I would. Well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Once this pandemic ends, I'm assuming that you're looking forward to just getting your regular group back to the table and playing games. That I believe that would be a fair assumption.
Yes.
So, is there any part of your gaming experience that will change after this pandemic?
Yes.
Okay. How so?
Um, the Monday night stream, Tales from the Backlog, will remain remote um, because we have people who like to play that are in very disparate locations,
Okay.
and that's not going to change when the pandemic ends. Also, it makes it in a way it makes it more low pressure for me,
Okay.
because I don't have to have people over,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you know, despite being, I feel like amongst my friends, I'm known as like a gatherer. I get people over here. I set up games, and even before I was into D&D, I would have a lot of parties. Like, I've
Oh
always,
yeah.
I had a pastor once that described me that way as a gatherer, and I think he's right. I recognize that in myself, but um, uh, at the same time, I'm also very much an introvert, and
Yeah.
I I I have motivation to get people together, but it takes work for me to mentally to get myself to where I'm ready to be around people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very, very ready to be playing D&D in person again. But at the same time, the remote streams give me an opportunity to have a game with a little less social pressure, as it
Mm-hmm.
were.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So this pandemic, in a way, has opened up a new way of gaming, the remote way, um,
Yeah.
that you're open to now. It's like, oh yeah, we can totally do it this way. I mean, we did do a few. I think I did one actually with you, a remote play D&D session. We tried it, um, and it was fine. It just was like one of those things like, why are we doing this? And that's kind of why I asked. I thought, well, now that we've kind of gotten used to streaming or remote gaming, once a pandemic hits, I think that'll be two camps: people who will be all about it, and then people who will be like, no, I don't want to do that again. I want to go back to the way it was. And I just wonder, how that's all
Yeah.
going to shake out with people.
I mean, I'm half and half. I have a game that completely shut down because two of the players just were not down with remote gaming anymore. Like they gave it
Okay.
a shot. We did a few sessions, but they were like, and very understandably saying, "I sit at this desk 8 hours a day all week,
Yeah.
and you're asking me to sit here for an additional 3 or 4 hours in my off time."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? Fine." So I have a game that's been on pause for months because of that.
That makes
And
total sense to me. Yeah.
yeah, and then like Cody said, he just said this in the chat. One of the reasons I didn't like remote gaming the way we tried it previously before the pandemic was the virtual tabletop setup, where we were using Roll20 and it's like a digital tabletop,
Uh huh.
and there's the video call component of it, but it didn't like that part of it doesn't work for everyone. Roll20's video chat is terrible,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to say anything against people who use Roll20 or anything.
It wasn't
It's
for
a good,
you. You didn't like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a good system, but it's like you have to learn it and be an expert in it to really get the most out of it. And at least at the time when we tried it, the AV component of it was really really poor.
Yeah.
Um, but what I've developed now, and I didn't invent this. I mean, obviously, Critical Role's been doing a form of it forever. But what I developed is basically, I mean, you've seen the show. We have our players each featured in their own box, like a Skype window coming in,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and we're using a real tabletop setup. Um, now that there's pros and cons. One of the pros is I get to control everything my player sees because I have the camera
Yeah.
and I can point it at what I want. The con is I have to be the one moving all those minis. I have to reach out from where I'm sitting and handle it.
Yeah.
Where if we were in person, I would hardly ever be touching the minis.
Yeah.
I'd set them out and then I'd say, okay, guys, move that one over there, move that one over there. Um, so yeah, like I said, pros and cons.
I mean, I hear what you're saying about that, but that seems like something you can do that. You know,
Yeah,
that's like, okay, well, that's one negative side of it, but it's possible to get around as opposed to using a Roll20 or even anything else that's virtually doing it. I feel that's almost like a video game.
yeah.
I feel like, why am I going to sit here and do all that when I'm doing a manual process that could be done digitally, or I'm doing a manual process. I'm doing a digital. I'm doing a manual process digitally. So
Yeah.
why not just go full on? Let's just play a video game. Why are we even bothering with doing everything by hand in the first place?
Well,
That's how I feel.
Cody and I know each other because we are both on a patron Discord for the Dungeon Dudes,
Right.
um, which is a YouTube channel about D&D stuff. But they also have a stream game. And when the pandemic started, they went remote, and they are using Roll20 for their virtual tabletop. But they're also using, I think, Zoom, some video chat platform outside of Roll20.
Sure.
And so when you watch their stream, to me it feels almost as good as it did when they were in person. And I think the missing component from Roll20 is how small those video chat boxes are. A huge thing that makes D&D what it is seeing the faces of the people you're playing with.
Uh-huh.
And I think what the guys at Dungeon Dudes did very well, and what I tried to do as well, is preserve the personal aspect of it by making the video of people's faces as large as possible.
Yeah, that's good. That's smart. I didn't think of that. You're absolutely right. I try to think of, because I watch the board game videos, and it's the opposite. The last thing you want to do is see someone's face. But in a role playing game, it's the opposite. Yeah, you need to see their face. And that's where the story's being told in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
is their facial
exactly.
expressions. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one reason why we're not back in person yet. There was discussion in our groups of friends, very brief discussion, but there was discussion amongst our regulars. Can we come back earlier if we all mask up? And I was like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I'd rather game remotely than game in person with masks, because I need to see your faces. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I mean, it's probably a good segue, because I was talking to a friend, I think a few weeks ago, and I had this idea, I think more of a frustration, right? Hold on, I want to see what Cody's saying, but we are all cute on Steve's streams, so it helps.
Yes, that is true. Everyone's gorgeous.
That is true. Yeah. It's hard not to look at all your faces and think, wow, just, I don't know. Sorry. I wouldn't know where that would. But yeah, I had this idea. I broached it with him, and I trust his opinion, and I said, I think it's time to start doing this in person. Like this was only like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Cases were going down. We can start doing it indoors with games. We can start inviting strangers. I think I'm going to put this up there and see the response I get. And he was like, don't do it. Absolutely do not do it. It's not that what you're feeling, isn't, it's not that it's such a crazy idea, but the amount of pushback that you're going to get it's going to be borderline harassment, because there's so much more to this pandemic than just, you're not able to see your friends, you're not able to game. There are people that are dying. There are doctors and nurses who are stressed out to the breaking point, not to mention everyone else in that world of frontline workers that is just doing their best to keep their head on their shoulders and not go crazy. And just the idea that someone's going to be like, forget it, let's just get together and do whatever, is going to upset people. And I was like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And yeah, it's just been, we can wait. We've been doing it for a year. We can wait longer.
Yeah, and that's what I want to communicate to a lot of people. I try to avoid these discussions with my good friends, because I know some of them get their information from places that I don't, to put it one way. But like, I feel like people who are like, well, I'm healthy, I'm not in a high risk group, I shouldn't have to XYZ.
Yeah.
They're missing the point.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm 39, I'm in good health, I've always been pretty resistant to disease, I don't get sick much. I'm not worried about myself. That's not why I'm staying home.
Yeah.
It's for other people. If I am not careful, a stranger may die and I will never hear about it. That doesn't mean that I don't have to be careful.
I'll go from the other point of view. I'll take it one step further from that, because you're right. That's where I was. And, cards on table, I caught COVID in December, and I don't know, I think I told you about that. I'm pretty sure we talked about it.
You posted about it, yeah.
I posted about it, yeah. So I had caught COVID in December, and honestly, by just sheer luck, by a couple of days, did not pass it to my family. it was just lucky. Like it just turns out, oh, don't come over, or I'm not going to see you. And then in the next few days, I started to develop symptoms, and it turned out, yeah, that I had contracted it. And after that, there you do kind of. It wasn't that bad. I stayed home. I didn't have to go to the hospital. Um, but after that, I did have this appreciation of it. It was like, even though I am immune to a certain degree, more so than you,
Right.
right? If you haven't had it, then you're completely exposed. Reinfection is possible, but rare, and you do have some immunity after the fact. But even then, I felt like I'm still gonna follow the procedures. I'm still going to behave as if I can get exposed, so that way other people will see that that's what I'm doing and understand that it's like, okay, even though I've been through it and yeah, it wasn't that bad, that doesn't mean that it's all about me and that I can just go, forget it, whatever, la la la.
Right,
You
because
know,
we're not all. Some of us are immune or low risk, but everybody's a carrier, a potential
exactly,
carrier. And so,
exactly.
like, yeah, I'll be fine, but a 75-year-old woman who's in the grocery store right after me won't.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So let's try to liven things up because we can
Yeah,
keep.
yeah.
Yeah, let's not keep going. I'm here with this guy. I got the chainmail going. The chainmail looks good. Um, I want to wash him in a minute, but I got the bow. I think I'm gonna get that bow right now.
Cody's asking what you do for work.
What I do outside of the stream, I won't say exactly what I do. I'm in insurance. I work in the insurance field, so I'm able to work from home. Not a frontline worker. It's. I've been really lucky in the fact that I could work from home, and I have a. I mean, I think we all know people who are not in that same predicament.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had a friend recently that I mean, I haven't met her, seen her since high school. Um, but we found each other on Facebook and we were just chatting and she told me like how her year has been and she showed me this bottle of Jack Daniels that she had been drinking. And I said, I can't really do very much for how bad that year was, but I can get you better booze. So I bought her a bottle of Dewar's Special Gold Edition and a bottle of white wine. And I said I sent it to her. She lives far away, so it was like, here, I sent it to you. This is yours. I can't do very much for your situation, but at least I can, show you that hey, we knew each other in high school. We weren't even that close of friends, but it was just recognizing that other people are not doing as well in
Yeah.
this whole thing. Cody's asking, do you run game tables at a shop? It sounded like you did. Oh no, um, kind of. I would do meetups. I would do meetups at bars, breweries. A lot of times, especially I think this is a couple years ago when breweries were just starting to become a thing. Um, they were more than accommodating for everyone. They were like, yeah, if you bring people down, we'll set you up a table. We'll do whatever we need. Um, a couple of breweries in Torrance, the Strand is another good one. Yorkshire Brewery was another good one. They hosted us. Um, and then I think Golden Road Brewery is another good one around here. Smog City. Oh, I love Smog City. But yeah, I would host games there. Oh, Cody. Wow, this game is fantastic. Oh, thank you, Cody. Thank you. I don't want to get your hopes up.
Well, I can say this: if I really take my time and pay attention, I can paint a mini okay. Bond's better than me by quite a bit, and I did not know that until recently.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I thought you had known. I started painting. Um, oh God, it's been maybe about 4 or 5 years. I think it was just something to do when I got home from work because I'd have this monster commute
I
and
get it.
yeah, and I'd just get home and decided I'm gonna try this and I picked up some I watched some videos. Not very good with videos. I'm better with text. So there's a website that I found that kind of walked me through the basics of um, base coating, washing, and dry brushing. And just by sheer trial and error, just kept at it. You'd also develop kind of that muscle memory for how to. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing here, but it's just
Yeah.
moving the brush along a certain way. And I don't know, I have small hands too. I don't know if that has something to do with it. I have really small hands, so getting in there with that, with the brush and the mini, isn't hard for me to do. I don't know if that has something to do with it too. Because I can't work
Oh,
with, yeah, I can't work with wood. Like I've seen the stuff you do with wood, and I know other my friends that work with wood and tools and manly stuff, and and I just look at that and go, wow, how I can't even.
well, I have acquired what woodworking skill I have through osmosis from my father.
That's right. Yeah.
He did it as a hobby when I was a kid. His job at the time had nothing to do with it. But that job went down, and really around the time I entered adulthood, he got a new job, and now he designs custom cabinetry for rich people. Um, and he's been doing that over 20 years now.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
he's he's the shop manager at the place where he works, and yeah, he just really knows what he's doing. And I mean, because he's the shop manager, he's not one of the guys who's actually doing the work with his own hands most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are things that those guys can do better than he can, but he still at least knows how to do it all.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if there's something about your dad, like when your dad comes to you for something that changes things. Like
Yeah.
I realized this not too long ago. Like I'm going to him for all this woodworking help because that's what he does every day. But what his job was before was it had a lot to do with electronics, and he also taught me everything I know about computers.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't do it every day, and my job is as a web designer. I do it every day.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so he's managing his company's website and doing, and when he calls me for help on the website, like how do I do this? I can't figure this out. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. I mean, I think it's part of growing up and becoming a man is like when your dad's like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And you're like, "Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
could totally do that. Yeah."
Yeah, and what it really drove home for me is how important it is to be practiced at something. Because, like I said, almost everything I know about computers, he taught me, or at least taught me the basics.
Yeah.
And including electronics of all sorts. And there have been times when I'm at his house and he doesn't remember how his TV's hooked up to his Roku or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Dad, the only reason I know this is because you taught me.
Yeah. Yeah. God. My dad still has like 15 remotes for his TV. Is that what your dad does too by chance? I'm wondering if that's an age thing.
No, my dad doesn't do that.
He
My
does do that.
dad,
Okay.
if you could give him 50 new devices, and the first thing he would do is go buy a remote that controls all of them.
Yes, that's smart. Cody's responding. Minnie is great. I met him getting the booze for that lady. Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what you do when you can. If you pay it forward, if you can help someone out, um, you do it. I'm sure Steve would agree. Like, so
Absolutely.
you can do things and not expect anything. You're just doing it because you have the ability to do it, and
Yeah, absolutely.
it means so much more to them than the inconvenience for you, whatever it be. Aw, group hug. Everyone in the middle. Virtual group hug. All
Yeah, the
right.
detail on this wood burning is getting difficult because at this point the details I'm aiming for are smaller than the grain of the wood.
Hmm.
So it's kind of pushing my tip aside as I try to burn it.
Look at
What
that.
One way to do it would be to swap to a different tip, but that would take forever because I'd have to wait for the tool to cool off.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you, I mean, how much time? I mean, we're at, let's see, we're about an hour and 10 minutes now. So if you want to just keep going and then
Yeah, I've got a lot I can do with
you've got a
this
lot you
one.
can do with that one. Okay.
Like this area up here is going to be all filled in black. Um, but I'm not doing that right now because I can do that much faster with one of the big flat tips.
There you go. Yeah.
And this one, I'm just kind of, I'm trying to fill in with it a little, but mostly I'm just using it for the lines.
Cool. I'm trying to think what I'm going to do with this guy next. I want to get some of this detail on his belt buckle. Pig iron. Pig iron. I got all pig iron. Where's... There you are.
See, that's another thing. You're using those fancy mini paints, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm over here with like apple barrel territorial gray beige.
When you
Get that at
told
Michael.
when you told me that, I was like, well, of course. I'm thinking I didn't want to. I didn't know how to say it, but in the back of my head, I'm like, well, of course you're not gonna paint like, you know, that good if you're using Michael's paint and Michael's brushes. Like, yeah, you gotta get the quality stuff. It's like anything else.
Well, I'm not using Michael's brushes anymore.
Good. That's good.
Like right around the time I went on your stream and saw you painting, that's when I had just bought some new brushes.
Perfect.
And they are a lot better. I've also got some real miniature washes which are helping a lot. So my stuff has been a lot better the past few weeks because of
Yeah.
those two things. But I'm still using these.
I mean, I'm showing like look at the brushes compared to the mini. Like that's how small and
Yeah.
fine those tips are. You know, that's the only
The
way.
ones from the ones from Michaels can be that small when you buy them. They just don't stay that way for long.
No, they do not. No. God, I need to go to Michael's because I need to get other supplies like the felt. This felt that I'm using here, kind of see it off screen, but it's like a wet palette. You wet it,
Hmm.
and then you put paint on it. It kind of thins it out, gives it a nice even coat on your brush. That's very helpful. Um, yeah, I think we kind of talked about this too. That I was learning how to use less paint.
Yeah, a lot of it can be thinned out, right?
Yeah, a lot of it can be thinned out. You just gotta do it, but it's tricky with the eye because when you paint it and you see it, you're thinking, oh, it's not enough. It needs more. And then if you just wait, just give it time to dry, it comes out
Yeah.
really good. And I'm liking this orc right here. Right now you can kind of see the different layers of what I'm going for, but before we end this, I'm gonna go ahead and wash it, so then it'll really come
Awesome.
to life. Then it'll really start to pop out.
Yeah. Yeah, see, for me, there's kind of a cost benefit component. Like the brushes are one thing I can buy pretty easily, and the washes can be bought pretty easily.
Uh huh.
But to replace all this paint that I have with
Oh,
actual miniature paint,
yeah,
I'm just not gonna.
yeah, yeah. No, and you're right. It's expensive.
Yeah,
The actual
because
miniature
I
paint
mean,
is expensive. Looks like Cody says you use Citadel. I take it. Yeah. Well, I do have the Citadels, of course. I do have the contrast paints. Let me get some of those. Actually, you're gonna love this, dude. So my son, I'm gonna show you in a minute. So my son comes over and he'll see me painting. He's 9, and he's thinking, "Oh, cool, paint." And I'll sit here and I'll let him, I'll get the little brush and I'll be like, "Okay, you can paint that, and it's fine, but I gotta stay here. I gotta keep my eye on him." Um, I did that one night. The next night, he comes into the room. We're about to go to bed. I think I went downstairs. I came back up, and he had emptied. Let me show you.
oh,
Blue
you don't have
contrast
to.
paint, emptied the entire thing onto the Yellow King. I came,
Oh
I
gosh,
walked in my
no.
room and found this, and I looked like, "What are you doing?" And it was adorable. He was just like, haha, look what I did, Dad. He was so proud of himself. Look at this.
Yeah.
This is now a $30 paint job right here, basically. It's a $30 paint job.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? I let my kids help with the crafting, but I give them I make sure I give them the things they're allowed to paint.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a very good idea.
I'm a minute or so behind watching the video on Twitch, so
Oh, that's right.
I'm just now seeing the mini that you were showing that your son painted up.
It was just he just dumped the whole thing on top. That's a mini from Cthulhu Wars. That's the Yellow King.
Yeah.
I was gonna paint it for fun, and then I let my son start to play with it. So now it's his. He'll never quite understand the madness that he's toying with, but it's his.
Okay, but your son is 8, right?
9. He's 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In a few months, if you just put that thing where he doesn't see it, in a few months he'll forget that he painted it.
Oh yeah. No, I'm sure.
So then you can repaint it.
Yeah. Oh no, it's his. I like it now.
Okay. Oh, all right.
You know, I mean, it's his artistic representation.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he wanted to do with that. That's how he wanted to look, and you know what? Who am I? Who am I to say otherwise?
Well, regular viewers of my 5th edition game know that I make frequent use of one of my young son's toys on the stream.
Yeah.
Because it is a scale appropriate Tyrannosaurus Rex. And one of the spellcasters in the party frequently turns the barbarian into a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So when I saw that he had this dinosaur that was exactly the right size, I said, "Hey, Henry, can I paint this dinosaur?" And he said, "Yeah, but I want to paint that dinosaur." So we had a day where we painted dinosaurs together.
Aww.
And I made this like really realistic looking greenish brown scaly T-Rex. I did all these layers. And he's just like orange, green, yellow.
Yeah. That's adorable.
Yeah. But then, of course, there are times when I just don't have the T-Rex when I need it because he came to the game room and got it back.
Oh, it's his.
Yeah, it is his.
That's his T-Rex.
It's his T-Rex, and I keep it in the game room, but I keep it where he can see it because, like you said, it's his.
It's his. It's his T-Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had to stop hosting game nights the same times with my son around because he would take my place at the table.
Oh yeah.
And he wouldn't give it back. He'd be like, "This is my chair now. This is where I sit. I don't know what you're gonna do, but you need to find somewhere else to sit." And it was very adorable, and everyone else got a real big kick out of it. But you know, I'm willing to give my son all I can, but I'm not gonna give him my turn at the table. That's my spot. He has to get his own.
You gotta have boundaries, Dad.
Exactly. Come on. This is I'm using platinum on his armor up here. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm hoping that once I put some wash on it, it'll start to come out. Because I don't know, you guys, Cody, you've been here the whole time. What do you think? Is that armor coming out a little too shiny? Oh, actually, I think it's good. Never mind.
I think shininess is hard to tell on camera.
Too early for him to take the throne. Exactly. You gotta pay the cost to be the boss. Yeah, it comes out really shiny on camera, but I'm still liking it. I think it's gonna be very good in a minute. I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna do his boots next, and then should be good. Don't know if this should all be armor. We should. It's too bad Ray Lynn was in here, because since this was kind of like her mini, can ask her like, "Hey, do you want? I can put flowers on this guy or something. Like, you know, it's partly yours too."
Yeah.
A shield or something. The bow came out pretty good, I think. This base, though, what he's standing on?
Yeah, it's. I think it's supposed to look like ground.
Okay, I could do that. Yeah, I could
I
do
never
that.
worry too much about bases when they're part of the mini like that. I usually just paint them brown. Otherwise, if it's just like a disc, I'll just paint it black. I know a
Yeah,
lot of people like to dress up the bases, and
yeah,
I'm not a fan of that because I actually use the minis for gaming, and if it's not totally neutral, it's not going to work
yeah,
when you put them in a new setting,
yeah, yeah. I don't like the like when people put grass and like
All
foliage
this.
on the base. It's usually like, I could do without that. Really,
I
it's
mean, yeah, that's for me. That's great if you're going to put it in a diorama, but why is my barbarian standing next to a bush in the middle of a dungeon?
yeah, right, exactly. It kind of takes it away. It's like, and it's not necessary. It's more just
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. Cody is saying, I think it's great. Are they supposed to be savage or just cool? That's a very good point. I think, well, he's gonna look more savage once he gets a little darker. I feel.
Yeah, and he is wearing the fur, so I think
Yeah,
he's going to get a bit of both.
yeah. That beast hide's definitely gonna come out more so once that. So let me get this. Let me get his boots. His boots are made for walking. That's just what they'll do. One day, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
Yeah, it won't hurt that much though because he weighs less than an ounce.
That was such a dad joke. It was like, I was so. It was like, yeah, but what's that little mini gonna do stepping on me? Won't he wake me up from a sleep, a nap?
Man, I wish people that size would attack me. The smallest person I have to fight is at least 100 times that big.
If I see this thing coming at me in the middle of the night, I'm gonna think it's a spider and it's gonna get swatted.
Man, and then you'll have to put it in warm water so you can bend it back.
I think we are coming to the end of the stream because we're getting a little loopy. I I'm gonna go the other way and think like, what if spiders learn archery and they just start like flinging arrows at us while we're asleep in our bed? That's
This
where
is
my
the kind
brain's
of
going.
quality content you guys should subscribe for.
When you really think about it, I mean,
Yeah.
it would be terrifying and also incredibly adorable to see a spider with, and they could have more than one bow. Like they could have up to what, four bows? Because you need two. I'll stop now. I'll just stop. I'm doing math. That's a bad sign.
No, they'd have to have it. They'd have to only have a maximum of 3 bows because they'd need 2 legs to stand on.
Oh, I just figured they'd be in a web.
You see,
See,
you tried to stop, and I brought it right back.
Cody is saying phone screen isn't making it easier to see, but I love it, and he's just laughing at it. Oh man.
Aren't you? Wait, are you still driving, Cody? Are you peering at our tiny, intricate artworks
Well, no.
while you're driving on your phone?
Yeah. Yeah, we know. I read an interesting article about radio stations. Um, you're gonna start seeing radio stations shutting down the next in this year. You're gonna see a lot of mergers and just stations going away because no one's listening to the radio.
Yeah, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been going on for a few years, but probably about time it accelerated.
Yeah, it's the pandemic has just put everything into hyperdrive, into hyperspace. Cody is not driving.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, right. That ellipses says otherwise. Pay attention to the road, man. We don't want your deaths on our conscience. Wait.
Yeah,
We don't want your death on our consciences.
conscious, our consciousness.
There's 2 of us.
Yeah. Getting back here with this boot. So are you not like have you guys not gone out at all? No restaurants, no nothing.
Oh no, no restaurants for sure.
Yeah.
Around May last year, we made the decision to include my parents, in our quarantine, circle,
Oh, I hear you. Okay.
because they only live 3 miles from here, and we're in the habit of seeing them on a regular basis. But from March to May last year, we didn't see them in person at all.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so basically, we made it my mom's Mother's Day present. Like, this is stupid. There's no end in sight. We're coming over.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, that's
but
nice. I'm sure they like that.
other than that, and grocery store trips,
Okay.
no, we haven't been out. We do restaurants for delivery or drive through,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and we only go shopping when we have to. When things got really really bad in the winter,
Yeah.
we even stopped going to grocery stores. We started ordering groceries.
Oh,
Uh,
how was that? How was that for you?
oh, it's fine actually. I still do it if I just get lazy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I
Yeah, they send a guy, and most stores, if you just go to their website, there's one of the services that they are partnered with, and you can just order for delivery.
that's another interesting thing to look at because Prop 22 um, allowed like DoorDash and Uber Eats to take over that delivery business from
Yeah,
the small time like the grocery store one. So it's going to be interesting how that changes in the next few months because those services are going to change. You know, it's going to I don't know how they're going to change, but they're not going to be the same kind of thing that we're used to seeing now, or that I've never used it, so I shouldn't say wait. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, even now, it's mostly DoorDash or Uber Eats that are doing that. At least in my experience,
Okay.
I'm not really very aware of that situation you were just talking about. But it's not too expensive. I mean, Cody's asking, is it expensive down there? I mean, in LA County in general is, I think, the third most expensive cost of living in the entire United States,
Mm-hmm.
um, after San Francisco and New York. But no, the grocery delivery wasn't particularly expensive. I think it added $10-15 depending on the size of the order.
Oh.
And to save me a trip to Costco, like, this is one thing that I always think about, is like, time is money too.
Yeah.
When I'm doing work, I charge $50 an hour. Um,
Yeah.
if if you can save me 3 hours and it only costs me $15, we're good. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I didn't know they could do Costco.